The fourth tool that we are going to discuss to identify the problems in any process or product is failure modes and effects analysis, or FMEA. It's a step-by-step approach for identifying all possible failures in a design, a manufacturing or assembly process, or a product or service. So it's a very important tool that can be applied in a variety of situations. Now, there are two sets of words in this name of the tool, failure modes, and the second. Failure modes means the ways or modes in which something might fail. Failures are any errors or defects, especially ones that affect the customer and can be potential or actual. So you can actually look for potential problems beforehand and make sure that they do not occur, or they could be actual problems as well. Effects analysis refers to studying the consequences of those failures. What could be the effect of the failure modes? Failures are prioritized, just similar to Pareto analysis. Here also, we prioritize the failures according to three factors in the case of. First one is how serious the consequences of failure modes could be if they occur. Second is how frequently the failure modes may occur, the frequency. The third is how easily they can be detected. And we generally rank all these factors on a scale of 1 to 10 and multiply these three scores to find what is called RPN, or risk priority number. So greater is the RPN for a certain failure mode, the more priority we will give it uh, to address. The purpose of the FMEA is to take actions to eliminate or reduce failures, starting with the highest priority ones, the ones having the highest RPN. There are certain guidelines for rating on these three factors using FMEA. You can refer to these guidelines. I will share them later. FMEA is used during design to prevent failure. So that is the primary use of FMEA. It is more commonly used during design. It could be the design of a product, or it could be the design of. Later, it's used for control before and during ongoing operation of the process. Ideally, FMEA begins during the earliest conceptual stages of design and continues throughout the life of the product or service. So, as you know, that the easiest stage or the best phase during which the problems could be addressed is the design phase. And as we move on, the later we discover a problem, the more costly it is for the organization. So ideally, we try to address or identify the problems during design phase, and we keep on monitoring the product or process throughout its life using FMEA. But later we discover a problem, the more costly it is. There could be different formats to construct FMEA. This is one of them. So in the first column, we have the item. So item could be the component of a product, or it could be a certain sub-process to execute. Written here in the first column. Then we write the function of that component or that sub-process. Then we write down the potential failure mode. So each item could have one or more than one failure mode. So if there are more than one, we write them in sequence. Then is potential effects of this failure, each of the failures that was identified here, failure mode. So in words, we write potential effects of that failure if it occurs. Then we rate the severity of that failure mode if it occurs generally on a scale of 1 to 10. So that is written here. Then what could be the potential causes of the failure? So they are written in words here. And what is the probability of occurrence of that failure mode? So this was severity. What could be the effect of that failure mode if it occurs? And this is the probability of occurrence. So again, it is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. Then current design controls. How could this failure mode be prevented using the current design controls in the product or process controls in our process? So we write them here, list them here if they are more than one. Current design controls, if there are any, we write here. These relate to prevention, these relate to detection. And what is the probability of detection of that failure mode before it occurs? So if the probability is low, then a higher score is designated. And if the chances of detection are high, then a lower score is designated. And all these three numbers are multiplied together to find what is called RPN. So whatever is the score is written here. And then there are recommended actions to make sure that this failure mode doesn't occur, or its probability of occurrence is reduced, or its severity is reduced, or chances of its detection are increased. So they are written here. So up till here is the standard format of an FMEA. You can add some more columns if required. So we keep on listing the items and rating them on severity, occurrence, and detection factors. And with whatever factor has the highest score is the most critical one to be addressed. So this is a very strong tool, and we can use it to identify the potential failure modes for any product or process during any stage of its life cycle. Here is an example. So this relates to usage of ATM to withdraw cash. So again, we have items here or process steps written, potential failure modes are written, effect of the failure, severity, potential causes of that failure mode, chances of occurrence, current process controls, and probability of detection, and then we have RPN. So for example, one of the failure modes is unauthorized access. What could be the effect of that? It could be unauthorized cash withdrawal, very dissatisfied customer. So severity is really high. What could be the potential causes? So it could be lost or stolen ATM card. What are the chances of occurrence if some unauthorized person can access the card? They are really low. What are the process control? One of them is block ATM card after 3 failed authentication attempts. What are the chances of detection that unauthorized person is using? There are very low chances. So we multiply 8 by 3 and then 3. So RPN is 72. And you can look for other potential failure modes. So the one with the highest RPN is this one, the cash not dispersed. So some authorized person uses it, but there is no cash, or he or she cannot withdraw the cash. So severity is high, customer will be highly dissatisfied. It occurs in routine, so its chances of occurrence are also high. And chances and the way of detecting this problem, and the methods of detecting are not many. Its chances are relatively low. And what are the actions recommended? Increase minimum cash threshold limit of heavily used ATMs where there are more customers using the machines. So we can prevent this problem by increasing the amount of cash uh, for heavily used ATMs. So this is a very important tool, and that helps us prioritize the problems and sequence and take actions according to a certain sequence based on the risk priority number. So it could be used for products, services, for product design, and for